Hello there. Welcome to today's live. And what we are talking about today is spirit communication, our favorite topic. And today we're going to keep it simple for you, right? So we're going to be giving you 4 simple steps to take. And gonna want to stay for all 4, right? And we're going to also have other suggestions perhaps on at the back end of this. But let's get started because there's a lot we want to cover, and we want to lead you through an experience of this. I don't want to just tell you about it and leave you to try this on your own. We're going to actually guide you through the process. But first, let's talk a little bit about the other side, because a lot of people have fear and limiting beliefs about the supernatural, about the paranormal. We're all subject to the influence of media, television, movies, and all that. So you're going to have to put that aside. Okay, I'm asking you to do that for this class, for this presentation. Just put it on the shelf. You can come back to it and take it back on if you want to. But for now, just for the next 30, 40, whatever minutes we're spending together, just let it go. Have an open mind. All right. I've worked with the spirit world for over 35 years. So I don't want to not here to convince you of my background, but I know what I'm talking about. So just listen and learn. So here I want to start with letting you know that the non-physical world has always been interacting with us. All right. Always been interacting with us. Spirit communication is not complicated. It's not some rare gift bestowed to only a few. And mediums may tell you that they have this gift and that it's rare. And that simply is not true, right? And if you really explore this world and go to mediums, you'll find some. They'll tell you exactly what I just told you. And you'll find other ones who say that it is a rare gift and you have to be born with it. And there are opinions all across the board. But the truth is, the spirit world is interacting with us, right? They are interacting. They guide us. They put ideas in our minds. They nudge us to do things. And so communicating with them, therefore, is not something that is special. It's just something that you have to open up and believe in and trust and experience yourself to prove that to yourself, because your beliefs are going to basically create your experience, right? So that's why I said just put your limiting beliefs aside, just be open minded, just dip your toe in the water and see what happens, right? Because I assure you that the spirit world is benevolent. This is what some people stumble on when they are attempting to communicate through the veil because of all their limiting beliefs about what they can't see. And we've been programmed, many of us, to distrust the unseen world. We've been told that that's make believe, or that's scary, or that there are demons. You've got to stay away from that. It's evil. If you go down that road, you're going to go crazy. Any number of things. But this is simply not true. And at this moment in time on the planet, thanks to the enormous number of people who've had near-death experiences and come back to tell us about that, we pretty much know, more and more of us understand that the spirit world is not to be feared, and that it is real, and that we do return home because we are a spirit. We're only temporarily living in a body, right? So I don't expect you to take my word for it. What I ask you to do is jump in here and get your own experience. Let the other side prove to you that they're real, that they're with you, because they can. But first you have to believe. First you have to open your mind, right? It's not hard for them to connect with us because it's easy for them to put thoughts in our head and impress feelings upon us, both physical sensations, but also emotional, like giving us a feeling of upliftment or joy, or even sometimes in a sense of unease. Okay. They're not always going to do that because they know that we're here to have our own experience, our own life. So they're not going to be chatting away or always kind of trying to connect, always trying to push us here and there. They just know our plan, our soul's plan. They're very aware of it, and they're doing their best to guide us in the direction that we, not they, that we charted for ourselves before we incarnated into this life. They're simply trying to remind us and be as less as unobtrusive as they can, right? And that doesn't mean that spirit cannot come through strongly if we're about to make a mistake from not their perspective, right? But from the perspective of our higher self, our higher being, because that's the part of us that's really driving the bus. And they're just trying to tap us on the shoulder and say, hey, like, what are you doing? Right. So you may have had this experience already. I know I did before I even opened up to this whole journey, which for me began about 36 years ago. But the people I've spoken to, many of them have had unusual experiences where they could feel that they were guided and they knew they should or shouldn't have done something. And then maybe went ahead and went against the guidance and realized, oh my God, why did I do that? Oh, well. But the other side is attempting to help us. And I want to emphasize again that the spirit world is benevolent. You have nothing to fear from the other side. The only thing there is to fear is yourself, meaning your own limiting beliefs, your own limiting assumptions, your own fears, right? Your own negativity, because you are creating your experience in the 3D physical world from those beliefs and assumptions and recurring patterns of thought. Okay. That is what's happening. So when and if you hear somebody say, oh, I felt this demonic presence, it's their own inner demon, right? Either coming out or connecting with other energies, entities that match that. Because every thought creates, every thought has manifested. So people who focus on Satan or pray to Satan or whatever your description, definition of Satan is, right? Evil, they're manifesting that in form because thoughts create. Therefore, that demon is real, but yet not really real because in the non-physical world, yes, those things exist, but we're not putting energy to that because in the non-physical, we realize, well, that's not beneficial. I don't really want to explore that. But in 3D reality, because we're here to experience duality, right? We are meaning hate and love and all of that, we are going to experience negativity from time to time to learn from that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But the main point I want to make is that you have less to fear from the spirit world than you do from this 3D world. Be afraid of the living if you're going to be afraid of anybody. Don't be afraid of spirits, right? If you encounter something fearful, something that unnerves you, you need to go within and figure out, all right, why did I create that? What's going on with me that my energy, my consciousness lined up with that experience, right? Because that is what has happened. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm saying that you created it. There's no outside force trying to intrude. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way at all. The universe is benevolent. You have higher beings, guides, angels, your own loved ones trying to help you, trying to support you. And that's it. All right. So, with that aside, okay, let's get into this. I'm going to give you 4 simple steps of spirit communication. The steps are simple, but mastering it takes time. Okay, but the steps are simple. The way to do this, how to do this, is very simple, but here's the thing, you've got to trust and believe. That is critical. So let's start with the first one. Again, really simple. Hello, want to commute with somebody? Well, let's invite them in. If you're going to want to talk to your friend, you're going to pick up your phone and call them, right? Of course, you're going to say, "Hey, I want to talk to you." Well, with someone in spirit, whether that's your guide, whether that's your loved one, whoever it is that you want to connect with, you've got to invite them in. You've got to say, "Hey, I want to connect with you. I want to talk to you." And it's as simple as thinking about them or calling out their name. You can call out their name and say, I'd like to connect. Please come in. And 95% of the time, they're going to be there. What about the 5% of the time that they might not respond? It could either be that right now is not appropriate for you or for them, like this is not the time, but later could be. Okay, but most of the time, they're right there because they exist in a timeless state and they are multidimensional, as are we, right? Multidimensional means they exist on many different levels of reality. They can be in many different places. As Alan once said to me, he can be with a million people and still be with me. And he can be in a million places and still be with me. Consciousness has no limitations. It comes down to, is it appropriate? Like, did we, in our case, we planned to continue our relationship through the veil. And therefore, he said to me and through other people, I'm always going to be with you. I'm always here with you. I may at times seem to be a little bit further away, but that's an illusion because everything is right here, right now. But I'm always here. And if you really need me, I'm coming closer. Okay. At the same time, he's not going to be intrusive because he knows I need to live a physical life. So he's not going to be constantly, trying to interrupt or trying to do things for me or that. He says that would actually be very annoying after a time. Maybe initially I might feel like, wow, this is cool. Like, this is amazing. But after a while, to be like, wait a minute. Has said to me, it's like if I was still here in a body, Pam, and I was always following you around like your shadow. As much as you love me and I love you, you would just go, wait a minute, can you just back off? Like, I just need time, space to breathe, and I need to think and be in my own energy. And he says, you need that too. But in the beginning, sure, we are not fully believing in this. We want to feel them. And so they will come in. And yet there are times, he says, when he will back off because he feels that I need to deal with what I'm dealing with in 3D world. And it would be too invasive. But I know that he's always there. So that doesn't ever, ever worry me. Okay, I've reached that point. You may not have reached that point. So you're going to doubt if you don't feel them around, right? But know that there's always a reason. They never go away. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere for spirit to go because everything is here in this reality just enfolded upon itself. So the fifth dimension is part of our reality. It's just a different, let's say, a frequency. That's really not completely accurate, but it'll do for an explanation, just like a radio station, right? So they're on the FM dial and we're on the AM dial. And sometimes there can be a bit of a crossover. It's something like that. Again, that's not completely accurate. But so first thing, invite them to be with you. Call them up by name or just think of them or see them in your mind's eye. Okay. And they're there. He says they're only a thought away. And that's it. In a universe that's made of consciousness, they're only a thought away. So think of them or visualize them or both, whatever you want to do, call them to you, right? The next step 2, ask a question, interact, ask a question, or make a request. So it could be you might request, well, could you help me feel your presence? I'd like to feel you with me. Can you help me do that? Can you do now? Here I want to say that they are learning how to do this themselves. Please do not think for a minute that all spirits on the other side are equally adept and can come through like he's saying he's not saying Round's not saying to me like they're all robots. Like, no, they're all at different levels in their spiritual evolution and in their ability to transmit their energy, to communicate, to do things through the veil. All of them. They're on their own unique path of learning, of unfolding their own abilities. We here in this world need to be patient. I cannot emphasize that enough. Too many people reach out, they want to connect, they take a class or two, or maybe they've even studied with us, and they try it for, I don't know, a few weeks, a month, whatever, even a couple of months. And then they go, I'm not getting anything, and they just give up. Folks, this takes time. I cannot tell you how long it'll take you. It might take you only a week or two. You'd be rare, but okay, it could take a week or two. It might take some of you 6 months. It might take other people a year. I don't know. Your mileage may vary. And Alan says their mileage is going to vary. So you have to decide if you want this badly enough. And if you don't, or it's not for you right now, no problem. Just take a break, walk away. You can always come back. But understand that the human condition is that we want everything yesterday, especially in this day and age, right? We want it now, instant. He says we want it microwavable. He says microwavable spirituality. Can I just put it in the microwave and have it done in 60 seconds? He goes, no, it might take 60 days. It might take 60 months. Who knows? The real question to ask yourself is, am I in this for the long haul? And if you are, then this is for you and it will work out. They're not going to put effort into this if they don't see us putting effort into this, because what would be the point? What would be the point? Why would they continually try to connect and give us signs and, and answer those questions and kind of respond to the request, try to come through to help us feel them? Why would they do that if we're not engaged with them? He says they wouldn't. There is no point. It'd be a waste of time. And if you're not open, they're concerned that you'd get more frustrated or irritated. So they're not. So yes, so ask a question or make a request. Now, of course, then you're going to have to do step 3, which is like notice whatever happens next. So what I mean by that is literal. You ask the question or make the request. Whatever happens next, whatever vision you get in your mind's eye, if you're a visual person, and by the way, you don't have to be one to connect with the other side. And we'll have to do a whole class on clairvoyance because there's a lot of misconceptions people have about that. But whatever flashes in your mind briefly, or however long it is, or whatever you feel emotionally that comes out of the blue in response to your question or request, whatever you hear in your psychic hearing, right? Whatever, you might hear a sound, you might hear a voice talking, whatever you just know, it kind of just lands in your awareness. I just know what they're saying. I just know this is the message. You might see something symbolic. Spirit often communicates with symbols. Now, if it's symbols, again, that's more clairvoyance. You're going to have to kind of decode it. Like, okay, what does that mean? And this is where you can go back to this whole process and once again ask a question. Like, hey, what did you mean by that symbol? Don't be afraid to ask questions. And this is not a passive one-way interaction. A relationship is two-way. This is not all on them to make things happen for us. Yes, in the early days of their passing, they have a lot of residual earth energy left, is what I like to call it, because that's just how it is. And that's therefore in the first week or months, even up to a year, a spirit who's crossed over can make things happen more easily. They can appear to people, they can hug them, they can move objects, they can do a number of things. Some of them don't do that at all, either because they don't know how to do it or because that's not, let's just say it's not part of the plan. That wasn't, they weren't going to do that with you. Doesn't mean they can't do that. It just means it may not happen that way. Don't get me wrong. If you didn't have that kind of engagement from them in that early period within the first year, okay, that doesn't mean you can't have it later. All of that means when people are having that in the early days is that their loved one is strong enough to do that, and quite often they're trying to do that. They're trying to let us know they're okay. And by the way, if they continue to connect, give you signs, and you're getting experiences, and I've heard a wide range of experiences. That's why I know this is real, because I pretty much talk to people or engage with people in email or in my groups, my program, and in my Facebook, free Facebook group, who share that, her post about that. So I know that there is a lot of interaction happening to people. So, but if you're not having that, it doesn't mean you can't later, okay? Because the only, let's say, challenge is that as they fully transition to the spirit world, they don't have that earth energy anymore. That's residual energy. So that fades and they can't as easily come through. Some of them can, because they've developed that. That's why you can't look at this as a one size fits all. You can't compare your journey to anybody else's. You have to figure out what's going on uniquely with you and them. And if you want that connection, just explore all the avenues to do that, right? Because the more you focus on this, the more you believe in this, the more you attempt to reach out, the more this will grow and build and evolve. That's the nature of thoughts creating. What you focus on grows bigger. What you ignore, what you don't pay attention to, just kind of shrinks. It just doesn't evolve, does it? Because your thoughts are the creative life force that makes it happen. So if you want this to happen, you've got to give it your attention. You've got to put your heart and your soul into it, at least for a time. And if you don't want to, that's all right. You will connect with your loved one when you cross over. That's a given. You don't have to worry about that. It's not like you have to keep in touch with them to keep, the home, Alan is saying the home fire's burning or something. They'll always be there and you're going to reunite. That is absolutely the truth. Okay, so this is just another choice for you if you want to continue the relationship through the veil. But the key is whatever happens in response to your asking a question, you're asking for, some sort of experience, just embrace it. Even if you don't think anything's happened, just be grateful for it. Just say thank you and just see what happens next time, or maybe ask a different question. But the key is accept what happened, own it. Okay, don't just toss it aside and say, oh, I must have made that up. As soon as you think thoughts of doubt, you're basically closing the door to the other side, because thoughts create. So thoughts of doubt immediately manifest as giving you more situations that are going to give you doubt. Whereas if you believe, now you're opening the door to more interaction. You're keeping the door wide open because you trust and believe. So if you haven't done that, if you haven't embraced this and at least dampened your doubts somewhat, if not completely, this is going to be a very up and down journey. the more you can let go of your doubt and have faith and patience and just trust your loved one in spirit and your guides and go all in, okay, the more success you'll have with this. So, yeah, so trust whatever happens next. That's like really critical. And number 4, this may be seem less important, but write it down. The act of writing it down, the act of chronicling and keeping track of the interaction you're getting, whether it's signs, messages, etc. Make it real in this world. And because we are interacting with our loved ones who don't have a body and they can't give us that physical evidence, can they? Even if they give us amazing signs, there's usually no physical evidence of something that we can hold up, point to. You are the one that can make them physical, in a sense, in this world by writing down what you believe you heard them say, by writing down what you experienced in as much detail as you want to or can, making that real for you. And when you make that real for you, then this whole relationship becomes more real for both of you. Now, it's real for them, don't get me wrong, but you're the one that needs convincing, not them. You're the one that needs, yeah, you're the one that needs convincing. So if you're on this journey, keep a note. You might want to even keep a little notebook in your purse or just jot it down on your phone, right? On the notes on your phone. Write it down if you want to. Do that if you like, but make it real in the 3D world as much as possible. That would be my suggestion. Now, I have some other ideas for spirit communication, and one in particular, okay, that was recently I was reminded of by someone in my soulmates group, and it's this: one of the best places to communicate with spirit, whether that's your guides, whether that's your loved ones or angels, is when you are driving by yourself in your car. Those of you who have a car, it's something about being in this container, if you will. And Alan described it to me that it's kind of like a womb because it's just you, you and spirit, because spirits are always with you, meaning like your angels are always with you, your guides are always with you. Now your loved one's always with you. So it's like that's a container for you and the spirit world. You could think of it like that. Therefore, when you're in your car, if you kind of launch into having a spontaneous conversation, let's say with your loved one through the veil, as I've done with Alan, you will likely find that it's really easy that the information just comes while you're driving. Okay, like while you're driving. Don't worry, you're not going to crack up your car. They're not going to let you do that. I've had proof of that a number of occasions when I'll just give you this real quick. Like when I was driving on the LA freeway for the first time in my life, because I was teaching a course in some place outside of LA, never been to LA before on my own, let alone driving the LA freeway. And I'm driving along really happy because I'm going to teach this class. And I was talking to Alan on my cell phone. This is in the days before they made it illegal to talk on your phone and drive. I'm talking to him. I'm driving, totally oblivious that I need to turn off the highway to go to where the hotel is that I need to go to. And I'm driving along, and all of a sudden I hear turn. I hear in my in my ear, literally, I hear this voice like, turn now. And I was aware that there was an exit, but it looked to me like it might be blocked. There was all these, I don't know, like obstacles in it. It looked weird. It was like they were constructing something. So I was kind of tuning it out, but I heard turn now, and I turned. I immediately turned. That was the exit. That was the exit that I completely forgot about because I wasn't keeping track of. But because I was in this happy state and I'm talking to Alan on the phone now, he's not dead. He's on the phone. I'm on the phone talking to him. I clearly heard spirit. It's like, "Turn here." And I've heard them in the car quite often. I've heard them say to me things like more things like, "There's a cop up ahead." Okay, now they didn't say compared to that other voice saying, "Turn now." They didn't say, "Stop." Okay, because that would be giving me an order, right? Like, "Do this now. Stop." The information was coming through to give me the choice. Do you want to slow down and avoid a ticket or do you not? And sure enough, I didn't listen and I got a ticket, but I learned my lesson after that. And so when I do hear them say, well, this is about to happen, I'll go, okay, I'm going to pay attention. It's easy in the car. They told me that too back in the days. They said, when you're driving your car, you're in an altered state anyway. You know, you just are. Even if you're driving along the LA freeway for the first time, you're in an altered state. You're relaxed. You're most of you are relaxed. And so they can intercede. They can project thought, right? So that means when you're driving, you're talking to your loved one, your guide, it's easy for them to come through to you. So just go with that. Okay, you're in an altered state. It's somewhat hypnotic because your logical mind's given the task of driving the car, and you're just having this conversation in your mind. Okay, you'll find over time that you just trust it's just solid for you. Okay, and that you can do that when you're not driving. So start there if you're struggling. Get in a car, and Alan's laughing. He's going, or borrow somebody's car if you don't own a car. All right. Or, and he's saying, he's telling me that sometimes in a plane, it can be easier to channel. I've heard other channelers tell me the same thing, that when you're in a plane and you're at the higher elevation, I don't know if I completely believe that elevation has anything to do with it. But then again, what do I know? The Himalayan monks, they live high in the hills of Tibet and they're closer to the higher realm. But I don't know if I believe that because the higher realm, as I know it, is actually here. It's not like a geographical location. It's just a level of consciousness. So that's an idea that I suggest you try. Okay. And you could do the same thing, what I led you through about what step one, invite them in. Step two, ask a question, or give a request. And then notice what happens. What do you hear next? Understand that spirit communication is subtle. It's not like it's just loud, except that time when I heard turn now. The only reason they told me that, they didn't suggest because that I was there to teach a healing workshop, and my guides were behind that. I was teaching with them. So in their view, it was like, we're your co-teachers, we're in this with you. So they gave me the direction, not the suggestion, because they knew that they had a split second turn now. And so just open up to communicating and having the conversation. Don't worry if you think you're making it up. Okay, let that go. You got to let that go, because when you let it go, you're giving the other side permission then to prove it to you that it is them, because you're believing. If you doubt, you're basically pushing them away, and they can't do that, or at least it's very difficult for them to, because your thoughts again create reality. So if you doubt them, you keep saying, I think I'm making it up, thinking I'm making it up, you're going to create more of the experience that you believe you're making it up. You're not going to create the experience you want of, I get validation, I'm getting the confirmation that is my spirit team, or that is my loved one. Okay, you have to believe first in order to see and experience what you want. That is the nature of manifestation. All this idea of I'll believe it when I see it is backwards. 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 Okay. You'll see it only when you truly believe it, and not a minute sooner. So if you don't believe it, that doesn't mean spirit might not be able to override your limiting belief a bit for a moment, because some of them are so strong they can do that in spite of your limiting belief. But again, that is usually because they have residual earth energy to use to override that. But in time, that fades. In time, it's down to you. So if your beliefs are not aligned with this experience, it's unlikely to happen. Is it impossible? No, but it's very unlikely. Very unlikely, because now they're fully non-physical instead of, for a time being, I don't want to say they're not earthbound. They just have more of that earth energy to make things happen. Okay, to make things move, or even talk to you without you always believing, or even kind of breaking through your grief for some of you. Okay, but everybody's different, remember? So if you hear somebody's story and you go, well, why isn't that happening to me? They're on a unique journey to yours. Don't compare. Just don't compare. You have to give that up. So before we end, I just want to remind everybody that about our Supernatural Love Academy, that right now it's February 3rd, and we only have 2 more days before the discount for our membership is closing, 50% off for our monthly membership and yearly. The monthly membership 50% offer will never be offered again. That's what Spirit told me. It's never going to be that low again. Never. It's going away forever, because it's already a great value as full price. The yearly membership, that might actually stay in place. We're not sure yet. But if you want monthly, and you want a deal on it, this is kind of your last chance. I can't promise you we're going to do that again, because I take my orders from the other side. I promise them that. So if monthly works for you, better go do that. Go do that. Go do that by the 5th, which is only 2 days from now, midnight the 5th. Right? And I think the links will be dropped in the Facebook group for sure. And I know we're going to we're on YouTube as well. So just go to our website. If you're watching this later on any of our channels, especially YouTube, go to our website and you'll see whatever current promotions we're running. This is our website, supernaturallove.com, and you'll just see whatever, because they'll be the latest. And right now, the coupon code for the 50% off is my love. One word together, my love. I think that's easy to remember, my love. And we also want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, because starting on February 10th, we're going to be live streaming straight to YouTube, and engaging with you there. And we'll be doing a lot of fun things there, including having Q&A, where we'll take your questions, which we haven't done in our Soulmates group. Not really, not too much. So, but for now, before we go, I want you to let us know if you've experienced contact with a loved one in spirit. And if you have, tell us about it. Tell us about it. Let us know what it is. Let the world know what it is. The more of us that share our journey, that talk openly about what we're experiencing, not only does that help us more fully manifest our connection, because we are affirming it by stating it. We're not keeping it to ourselves. We're not just not having this experience internally. We're talking about what you talk about manifests, right? Thoughts create. So your thoughts that you express creates. So when you say, I have this sort of contact with my husband, Alan, that when it's our anniversary, like it was yesterday, he flooded me with love the whole day. And I felt like I was on another dimension on my own. And I knew that wasn't me, because I wasn't trying to do anything. I was just going with the flow of my day. And I heard him say, I'm so happy. And and I'm with you always. And of course, this is a day I'm going to celebrate with you. So they are with us and they will come in close. And if they don't, if you haven't had that experience yet, please, please don't give up. Please understand that your loved one is dealing with whatever they're dealing with. They might still be in a place of healing when after they crossed over. They still might be figuring things out over there. Other spirits, when they cross over, they hit the ground running. It depends. Alan hit the ground running. I had mediums tell me, oh my God, he really rushed through his life review and he came right back. And I said, yeah, it seems like it. But that's not usual. But then he was not a typical person, a typical spirit. He was, and he's not saying this to brag, and neither am I. He's saying he was more advanced spiritually. That's just how it is. This is why we're doing the work we're doing. We were spiritual teachers for over 30 years, so you don't do that if you're a young soul. You just don't do that. It's almost impossible. So his transition and what he did and how he could come back right away was unique to him. That said, some of you have loved ones who come through really strong, stronger than even Alan. And one day I'll explain why my journey is what it is, so that maybe you can understand maybe why your journey is what yours is. Okay. But everyone's journey is different. Doesn't mean it's better. One is better or one is worse. None of that. It's what was the soul plan, or what is the soul plan that we made before we came here. My plan was to be a teacher of what I'm teaching right now. I understand that now after Alan passed away, because he let me know, and my guides told me, you're here to teach this. You're here to tell people that they can continue their relationships through the veil and how to do that. I now understand. I've been studying this my whole life, well, not my whole life, for 37 years. So more than half of my life. And it's what I came here to do. But you can have that contact yourself, and many of you are having it, and more profound interaction than I'm having, because I have to go a different route in order to teach people. I know that sounds strange, but if I was already completely, I don't know, like Alan's saying to me, if I was completely able to do everything, like I'd have nothing to teach you. I have to go through my own process to understand, oh, that's what's required. This is what one needs to do. I had to go through it, even though I am a professional intuitive channel, because this is a whole different thing. So you can be your own medium. You can make your own connection. So we invite you to do that. Okay, go and do that and come back to this video, wherever you're finding it, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, and let us know. Let us know what happens. Let us know how you followed the steps. And whatever happens when you follow those steps, don't quit. Don't quit. The only way you fail at spirit communication is if you quit. That's it. Because if you quit, then nothing's going to happen. But if you persist, if you persevere, if you have faith, every moment of every day, you can get stronger at this, and the other side gets stronger at this. And all of us, right? We'll all meet them halfway. So good luck with that. Let us know how it goes for you. We love you. We support you in this, and we hope you subscribe to our channel and let your friends know about our channel. If you want anybody to understand the afterlife is real, I just heard Alan saying to me, we're bringing it. Okay, we're bringing the truth, because it's time for people to understand the reality about the afterlife and experience and get their own evidence directly. Don't read it in books. That's fine, but there's a lot of misinformation. Get your own evidence. And you can, because the other side wants to help. Your loved ones want to connect. They want to give you that evidence. You're the one that has to open up and trust and believe. Right. So until next time, take care. Right. And we'll see you then. Bye-bye.